Hey guys, how's it going? It's Bill here, back with another edition of FilmHook. Thanks very much for joining me. I'm going to be reviewing Anchorman 2, The Legend Continues today. So we're back with Ron Burgundy after the events of Anchorman. He's uprooted sticks from San Diego and he's moved with his wife to New York City. They now have a son called Walter. Ron and Veronica, who's played by Christina Applegate, are hosting the daytime news. We are introduced to sort of how their life is going and how they've progressed ever since the events of the original movie. Now, first and foremost, Will Ferrell's character of Ron Burgundy is a character which I really like. I missed Anchorman the first time it came out in the cinema, and I only came to it by way of word of mouth a couple of years afterwards. A couple of friends of mine insisted that I watch it, and I avoided watching it for a long time, but once I did, I was hooked pretty much same as everybody else. Now, I think I was quite similar to some people who had missed it first time round and only came to it by virtue of the home theatre market, where, you know, you picked up the DVD for sort of next to nothing really, and you kind of were able to enjoy the movie in and of its own right. There's, I suppose, kind of the first thing to say about the movie is that while I really loved Anchorman, I found that this film was, I suppose, kind of had two major glaring problems. The first problem I had with Anchorman 2, The Legend Continues, was that the movie is far too long. The movie runs for about 119 minutes, so it's just shy of 2 hours. And for me, the gag rate just isn't high enough to warrant a movie being that, I suppose, kind of that long. You have huge portions of the movie where there's very sort of throwaway gags, or gags which are predicated upon you having seen the original Anchorman and you knowing the characters and the fact that their characters haven't really moved on that much. So the same gags are kind of trotted out. My other problem with this is that as well as the film being a bit too long, unfortunately the film just isn't that funny. I was really coming to Anchorman 2 with a sense of hope from seeing the trailer, which I loved, and having seen Anchorman originally and loving it on DVD. The big problem with this is that it's a very long film for what you get. There's a whole sort of segment for the first 40 minutes of the film where Ron, I suppose he's given a new job working with the global news network, and he is going to be doing 24-hour news, and he's got to, I suppose, coax his original team back sort of out of retirement or out of exile to work with him in order to make sort of him a star again. So we've got about a 30 or 40 minute segment of that, and which is really kind of throwaway. There's not really much of a need for it to be done, you know, in that way. But I suppose, kind of about half an hour, 40 minutes in, it starts to pick up where, you know, he starts a job, you know, in Global News Network, and he sort of, I suppose, technically inadvertently invents 24-hour news much the way that we know it today. So, you know, it's sort of things like, you know, in your face, lots of graphics, car chases, stories about animals, you know, which really doesn't relate to the news, like, you know, that people sort of, I suppose, kind of, you know, wanted to hear, but it made for good television. So we're given that kind of, that's a good part of the movie, which I did like, was the whole satirization of, I suppose, kind of, you know, what you're made watch, you know, on the television. But unfortunately, the movie being too long and being as unfunny as it was, just, I suppose, kind of, you know, the one or two positive points, like sort of the satirization of 24-hour news, or Ron's completely hilarious, I have to say, attempts at, you know, or failed attempts rather, at race relations, they just don't stack up. There's a great cast in the movie, and there's a huge amount of cameos. James Marsden is great as Jack Lime, who's the competition for Ron Burgundy. We have cameos by, you know, Harrison Ford and Jim Carrey. Other people who I won't go into because some of them are quite surprising, and it is a bit of a who's who of American comedy at the moment. So that is pretty good, and I like the way that's done. Unfortunately, as I said, the movie is way too baggy, and probably like this review actually, it's probably quite too baggy in the sense that not enough happens in the movie to warrant, I suppose, kind of the runtime. There's some very weird stuff going on. I mean, Brick's relationship with Kristen Wiig's character, for me, just didn't hit home. I just didn't find it funny, and I know a lot of people said that it was the best part of the movie that they had seen, was Brick getting more time. Brick is Steve Carell's character, but for me it just didn't work. I thought that it wasn't funny, ultimately. So sad to say, I mean, I was really disappointed by Anchorman 2, The Legend Continues. It was a film I was looking forward to for a very long time. All I can say is, as I said earlier on, two glaring problems. It's not funny enough, and it's way too long. Maybe if you trimmed half an hour, 40 minutes out of this, you could tighten up the editing. But and that is probably actually what really needs to be done, is an editor needs to sit down with the movie and chop a lot out of this movie. It's way too flimsy and way too throwaway. As I said, there's some good comedy points in it. Overall, not enough to have me interested for a rewatch. And certainly it's a movie that I would be recommending you guys to maybe steer clear of. Check it out if you want, but I think I prefer to save my hard-earned for go and see one of the other great blockbusters which are out at the moment, like maybe All Is Lost or Walter Mitty, or you know, Wolf of Wall Street or something like that, which I will be reviewing very soon. Unfortunately, they're not out in Ireland just yet, and they're coming out. Anyway, guys, look, this was Bill with FilmHook. Quick review of Anchorman 2: The Legend Continues. Another couple of videos coming soon. I'll check you guys out later, okay? Take care, bye.